rolling.
Living in fear. Living in fear. Living in fear.
Myself and John Taylor used to be in a band called Duran Duran many years ago. When we were on tour in, I think it was 1983, we got to know Tony, and that's him you can hear now.
I was with David Bowie in Australia. I was on tour with the Sirius Moonlight Tour. Ran into John Taylor, who was working with Duran Duran at the time, and kind of respected each other's work, and he wanted to work with me, and decided to maybe do something together. And then I saw him again in the south of France, and he seemed to have gotten Andy Taylor involved, and they were looking for a producer, and I got Bernard Edwards involved.
And Tony introduced me to Bernard, who I instantly got on very well with. Played Bernard a couple of things that me and John had been working on, and he thought they were very, very good. So we went in and cut a couple of tracks, of which one of them was Some Like It Hot and the other was Get It On. And then we sent them to Robert and said, would you like to sing on these?
And I think we sent the tape to Robert, who was in the Bahamas at the time, and he wrote the lyrics for Some Like It Hot on the plane from the Bahamas to England.
Just get yourself on time, yeah, now. How you gonna do it?
Yes, let's get out of here.
Asked me if I was interested in having a go at writing a lyric and a melody for this track. And I liked the groove, and went over and just did one song, and then it sort of built from there.
Some like it hot, but you can't tell how hot till you try. Some like it hot, so let's turn up the heat till we fry.
When we released it, or when we came about to giving it to the record company to release it, oh, we'll never get that played on radio, and oh, it's too loud, the drums, and it got to number 2 in the US and number 6 here.
Some like it hot, some like it hot.
And it was just one of those things like it was supposed to happen.
It sounded cool, so we continued.
Get it on, bang on, get it on.
After that, Bernard and Robert did Riptide with Addicted to Love, which was a huge success. Me and Bernard got together with Rod Stewart and did Out of Order, which was a huge success. So we had this real core of a working thing going.
Got a phone call if I wanted to do another Power Station album, and of course everyone seemed to be in the loop and wanted to.
I'd had the idea for quite a while, and we had this house in Los Angeles.
Through the good graces of EMI, Chrysalis, and we've had the luxury of doing pre-production in California, so we could really sit down and write songs together.
We cut the basic tracks in Los Angeles, and then did the overdubs, most of them in New York.
Previous bands that I've had before, and session work that I've done with Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards, who were some of the first cats I ever played with. We used them for a lot of session work and a lot of albums that we recorded in New York, so when it came time to use, to utilize the right people, or find the right people for the right instruments, we knew exactly who to call.
I finished off the vocals in Milan, and then we mixed it in Capri.
The bulk of the material was all done within about 4 months, 2 years ago. So the thing that's important when you're making a record is the music. That came together pretty quick. Completing it to not just to a standard that we were happy with, but also having the circumstances right, because of the personal things that happened to some of us and some of those who aren't with us now. It's an unforeseen. You can't predict when a lightning bolt comes out of the sky and strikes you down.
Don't let your life and ambition just fade away. Make it real. I know the love happens all.
We were listening to the playback after he had edited the entire album in Capri, and he was standing out on the terrace looking up at the moon while we were listening to the playback, which is kind of weird for Bernard because he's usually in the room with us. But for some reason he sat outside, and I just thought, you know, the brother needed this space, you know, so I finally, at the end of it, went outside to get his response about everything, and he just said, you know, this album is he's really happy with it, and he hopes that everybody else would like it.
When we were in Capri, he was just looking forward to getting on the road and slamming this stuff down, and so we'll do him proud.
I've known him since I was 19 years old, and everything successful I've ever done musically has been with him. He's the only bass player in the world to me. He's the world's best bass player in the world. And it's unfortunate now that I never thought I'd ever be in this position where I'd have to find a replacement. Not necessarily a replacement, but somebody who could bring something close to what Bernard has given me and given the world all these years.
From the word go, the way that the band knit together was uncanny, really. I mean, there was no discussion or anything. It was just like plug in and play, and the band had an immediate sound.
There was an energy there that we wanted to play together. But when we got in the same room, it just poured out of us.
Which is strange, since we've got a Venezuelan disco drummer.
Oh yeah, I'm a banger. I like breaking sticks and sweating and things like that.
And a Geordie rock guitarist. Whether it goes one way, where it's like a sort of more like linear sort of dance funk stuff. That's a cinch. And then when it comes to the sort of muscly rock stuff, like the single or the title track from the album, the band's just capable of going in so many directions.
This record, much more so than the last record, I think, has more. It's got more breadth in it, and everyone has had a chance to express themselves in a way that collectively works, and so it makes the whole musical contribution quite wide.
Let's get it on. Baby. Let's get it on.
I suppose it's because everybody in the band has so much experience in and out of the studio, live, and been involved in all kinds of different work over so many years that it pays off. You just sort of know how to adjust to go into that certain mood, certain groove.
We don't even have to sit down and talk about it. We just go into a room and bang, it comes out of us.